How does an army of 40,000 soldiers conquer an empire of 10 million? In 334 BCE, a 22-year-old Alexander of Macedon crossed into Asia Minor to answer that very question. He was leading an invasion against the largest and most powerful empire the world had ever known, Persia. He led his fleet across the Hellespont, the legendary strait separating Europe from Asia, a symbolic reversal of the journey King Xerxes had taken when Persia invaded Greece a century and a half before. As his own ship approached the shore, Alexander stood at the prow, and before anyone else could disembark, he hurled his spear into the Asian soil. He then leaped the shore in full armor, claiming the continent as his own, won by the spear. His first stop was not a battlefield, but the ancient city of Troy. There, he made sacrifices at the tomb of his ancestor Achilles, creating a powerful link between his campaign and the myths of old. The Persian Empire, led by King Darius III, initially underestimated the young upstart, thinking it was a border skirmish. Their local governors met him at the Granicus River, expecting to crush his army as it crossed. Instead, Alexander led a daring head-on charge, personally fighting in the thick of the chaos. He nearly died, saved only when his friend, Cleotis the Black, cut down a Persian nobleman about to deliver a fatal blow. The victory was swift and total, opening the door to Asia Minor. His next great challenge came at Issus, where he faced King Darius himself and a massive Persian army. Alexander's victories were not just due to bravery. They were the product of a revolutionary military system perfected by his father, a tactic known as the hammer and anvil. His infantry phalanx, a dense block of soldiers wielding 18-foot pikes, would act as the anvil, pinning the enemy army in place. Then, Alexander would personally lead his elite companion cavalry as the hammer, smashing into the enemy's flank or rear to deliver the killing blow. At Issus, the tactic was put to its ultimate test. On a narrow coastal plain, Alexander's anvil held firm as he led the hammer in a desperate, all-or-nothing charge straight at the Persian king. The sight of Alexander crashing through his personal guards was too much for Darius. He panicked, turned his chariot, and fled, leaving his army and his own family to their fate. After the battle, Darius's mother, Sisygambis, was brought before the victors. Unsure who was king, she bowed before Alexander's tall, handsome best friend, Hephaestion. As her attendants rushed to correct her, Alexander simply smiled and said,
"You are not mistaken, mother, for he too is Alexander."
With the king on the run, Alexander made a strategic decision. He would first conquer the entire Persian coastline to neutralize their powerful navy. But one city stood in his way, the island fortress of Tyre. Believed to be impregnable, it resisted him. So Alexander commanded his men to do the impossible, build a half-mile-long land bridge through the open sea. For 7 agonizing months, the Macedonians labored under constant attack. When the walls were finally breached, Alexander's fury was absolute. Thousands were killed, and the rest sold into slavery. His path south was still not clear. The city of Gaza stood defiant. Built on a high mound, it was a natural fortress, and its commander, Battus, refused to surrender. The siege became a grueling ordeal, forcing Alexander's engineers to build colossal earthen ramps just to get their war machines to the walls. During one assault, Alexander himself was struck by a catapult bolt that pierced his shield and shoulder, a severe wound that nearly killed him. When the city finally fell, an enraged Alexander ordered a shocking punishment for its commander. Legend says he had Battus dragged behind a chariot until he died, a grim imitation of his hero Achilles. The act was a terrifying reminder of his capacity for both great honor and extreme cruelty. From there, he marched into Egypt. The Egyptians, who had long resented Persian rule, welcomed him as a liberator, crowning him pharaoh, a living god. To solidify this, Alexander undertook a perilous journey deep into the Libyan desert to visit the famed oracle of Amun at Siwa. Legend says his party became lost in the vast emptiness, their water gone, only to be guided to the oasis by a miraculous flock of birds. There, the priests greeted him as the governor, son of Amun, the Egyptian equivalent of Zeus. It was in Egypt he also founded the first and greatest of his cities, Alexandria. Meanwhile, a humbled King Darius sent a peace proposal, offering Alexander all lands west of the Euphrates River and a massive ransom. Alexander's most trusted general, Parmenion, said,
"If I were Alexander, I would accept."
Alexander's reply revealed the true scale of his ambition.
"So would I, if I were Parmenion.
He refused. He didn't want half the empire, he wanted it all. Alexander now possessed a divine mandate, an unbreakable army, and an unshakable belief in his own destiny. But King Darius was not idle. He was gathering a new, even larger army for one final winner-take-all battle. And this time, he would not be caught on unfavorable terrain. He carefully selected a wide, flat plain at Gaugamela and had his men level the ground, clearing it of any obstacle that might hinder his greatest assets, his scythed chariots, and his vast numbers of cavalry. He was setting a trap. Do you think Alexander's rejection of the peace offer was supreme confidence or dangerous arrogance? Let me know in the comments, and subscribe to witness the final epic clash of two worlds.